Summer is here. You're either a student in high school or college, or you have a student in high school or college. What do you need to do over the summer? Stay tuned.
It's time for Tip Tuesdays with Dr. Shanna Grant.
Okay, so whether you're in high school, entering high school, or entering college, this is the perfect time to start building your portfolio. So, right, if you're entering college, just like let's say not college, if you're entering high school, right, this is, let's say, your 9th grade year. So you're out of 8th grade, you're starting high school, or you're a freshman, upcoming freshman in college, right? So now the question becomes, what do you do over the summer? Now, many students wait until it's a little bit too late to start building your portfolio for the next phase, right? You always want to set your goals and work backwards. So for instance, when you graduate high school, if you're intending to go to college, right, or enter a career field, either way, you still need to be building your portfolio, okay? And if you are, let's say, going to college right now and you're planning to graduate and go to, let's say, graduate school or medical school, whatever the case may be, you need to be working backwards and building your portfolio so that you look very much appealing or competitive once you start to apply for different, your next phase in your career. So what can you do over the summer? So the first thing that we would recommend is you can always shadow. Right. And so what does this mean? So you're going to shadow. Let's say you want to be, I don't know, a mathematician, right? You would find a mathematician and ask that person, hey, can I shadow you for the summer, right? Necessarily, you don't have to do the entire summer. You can do, let's say, a week, 2 weeks, a month, right? You can definitely take advantage of shadowing somebody, and this can help you in the long run to determine if this is what you truly want to do, right, when you grow up. The next thing that you could do is also volunteer, right? So shadowing, it would be just you following the person to see what they're doing throughout the day. You're kind of like seeing first glance what it takes to be in that position, or to be a mathematician, a scientist, a doctor, whatever the case may be. You're shadowing that person to see what they do on a day-to-day basis and to see if that's something you want to do. Now, volunteering is something similar to shadowing, right, where you would volunteer in an area. Well, it doesn't have to be an area that you want to be in, but volunteering in an area that you are interested in would definitely also help for you to see if this is something that you want to do when you grow up, right, or in the long run when you're ready to start your career. Okay, and now the next thing that you want to do is, let's say, an internship or / research, right? I wouldn't be doing me justice if I didn't talk about research. I am a scientist. So research and internships, some of them are paid, most are paid, and they pay you good money as well, depending on your level. And again, this is for high school students or college students, right? When you do internships, this is a leg into a company or corporation, right? Some internships are not paid. Most are. However, whether it's paid or not, research or an internship, you want to make sure that if you do one of these, you will definitely be putting your best foot forward, because believe it or not, the first day you set foot on the job, you're being interviewed for a permanent position, right? Because when companies, businesses, or whatever the case may be, give you an internship, they're investing in you to see, okay, can I hire this person in the long run, right? And so you want to make sure that if you do the internship route or the research route, that you are definitely taking advantage of all that you can while you're learning, but you're also putting your best foot forward so that they can see your talent. The company or the managers, whoever it may be, can see your talent and say, hey, there's a opening. I think we can fill it with XYZ once they graduate, and those type of things. Now, what is an internship? So an internship is just a job that, well, we may take you on, or somebody may take you on in their company, and they train you for a certain position, right? So the easiest thing I can think about is, let's say you want to be an engineer. I am a little bit biased. I love STEM stuff. So STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you want to be an engineer, then a company, let's say petroleum company or Chevron, let's say Chevron would give you an internship, meaning they'll hire you for the summer or something like that. And then you would work for them, but they'll teach you some things that may be beneficial for the position that you're interested in. Let's say if you come in as an engineer, right? Whatever type of engineer they pick. And so they'll be seeing you and you'll be also learning a lot about that position. So internships and research opportunities. Now, when we talk about research, this is when you are using mostly, well, no, I'll say all fields. I was going to say mostly STEM, but there are other fields that allows you to do research. And so, for instance, for me, I interned or I did a research opportunity at NASA, and I got firsthand glance of like what they did, 9 to 5 and those type of things. And of course, I was being interviewed in the event that I wanted to be a scientist at NASA. However, for me, that showed me that this isn't for me, right? I'd clock in 9 o'clock, clock out at 5. And let me tell you, I could not wait for 5 o'clock to come. And I was crunching numbers, I was coding, and I was doing all this good stuff. I didn't like it, right? That was not for me. So that's the beauty of doing an internship or a research opportunity. Research is when you apply something in the area of your study. So even if you're in high school, you can do research. So you could, like, let's say you did a project in math class. You could apply that project to real life. And so that's a research opportunity where you could go to a company or an area, a lab or something like that, and you would apply what you've learned in school, in your classwork, in the classroom, whatever you've learned in your content area, you'll apply that to solve a real world problem. That's what we call research. And so, yeah, doing all of those, so internships or research, they give you a leg in into the company. Volunteer work can also give you a leg in as well. But what this does is it's building your portfolio as well, right? Because that's what I talked about previously. So you're building your portfolio. If you're doing this consistently, you're building your portfolio. So you're now making yourself more marketable when you start to apply for, let's say, college or for a job when you graduate college. So if you're in high school and you're applying to college next, then your portfolio would look good. If you're maximizing your summers to do things that are in line with what you want to do, because you're getting now exposure, you're getting experience and those type of things. And so companies like to see that, or schools like to see that. We like to see that you're doing things and you're taking initiatives, right? What I'll also say is if you can really solve a problem in the sense where you see a gap, right? You see something that needs to be done in just the space of, I don't know, the world. For instance, you see, okay, you live in a neighborhood that they litter a lot, and you decide, okay, I'm going to team up with some of my friends and we're going to clean every Saturday to make sure that the community is clean, right? So that's you solving a problem. Now, schools or jobs, for sure, if you're in high school and you're planning to go to college, right, you will need to write a personal statement, or you'll have situational questions to answer. And you can look at our video, I'll link it somewhere here. We talked about the steps to apply for college or, you know, a perfect scholarship application. But at any rate, you will have to write something along the lines of, you know, why you fit in until of a time where you did this. But you will really set yourself apart if you solve a problem in your space, because what that tells them is, or it tells anyone, is if they were to bring you in, if they were to admit you to their institution, that you're solving a problem in your community, you're definitely going to solve a problem on their campus, right? Or on the job, or, you know, wherever you go. So if you can find something to do over the summer that solves a real world problem, that will be great for you. All right. And lastly, of course, if you don't want to do shadowing, if you don't want to do volunteer work, and if you are not interested in research or internship, I know a lot of us, we want to work over the summer. Just make sure that the work, if you want to work over the summer, is meaningful, and that it's not just so far-fetched from what you're looking to do. I won't call any companies names, but just make sure that you're not just working. Just make sure it makes sense for you, right? So even if you're doing a job that's not in alignment with what you are planning to do in the future, you could possibly try to volunteer, right, your time once a week somewhere when you're, on your day off for a few hours in line with something that you want to do. So you just want to maximize your summers and make sure it makes sense, because you want to think about the long term. What is my goals, or what are my goals? What is my plan after graduation? And then you can work yourself backwards that way. All right. So maximize your summers. It's the perfect time to get some extra money in your pocket if possible, but also boost your resume and boost your application for when you need it.